Right, let's go through simple, compound, and complex sentence. Now, if you're not sure what independent and dependent clauses are, you need to go and watch the other video that I've posted before you go through this content. Okay, so let's go through the first one, which is a simple sentence. Now, simple sentence has one independent clause. So let's look at the example. It says the students finished their homework. The students being the subject, finish is the verb, and then the complete thought here. So this is quite easy to identify the one independent clause. Okay, now next one is a compound sentence. Compound sentences have two independent clauses, and it's usually joined by a coordinating conjunction. So things like for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So if you don't know the common coordinating conjunction, you can look at this acronym called fanboys, and this will help you to remember the coordinating conjunction. Okay, it helps to join sentences and phrases. Next one is a conjunctive adverb and then a semicolon. So the independent clauses can be joined by any of these. Okay, so let's have a look at the example. We went to the beach, that's independent clause 1. We watched the sunset, that's independent clause 2. And then the and is the coordinating conjunction. So it's joined by the coordinating conjunction. So this becomes a compound sentence. Now, the next one is a complex sentence. Complex sentences have one independent clause and one dependent clause, right? So let's have a look at this one. Although it was raining, so this is dependent clause because it doesn't make sense of its own. They continued the match. This is the independent clause, right? So essentially, one independent clause and one dependent clause, that makes a complex sentence. Now, let's go through a paragraph, and what I want you to do is, please, if you can pause the video and see if you can identify which sentences these are. Okay, so is it simple, compound, or complex sentence? So maybe just pause the video here. All right, let's go through this together. So yesterday our class went on the trip to the Science Museum. That has one independent clause, so that is a simple sentence. Next one, the bus arrived early and the students quickly found their seat. This is independent clause 1. This is independent clause 2, and is joined by a coordinating conjunction. So this becomes a compound sentence. Okay. Next one, when we arrived, the guide greeted us at the entrance. When we arrived, that's the dependent clause. The guide greeted us at this entrance is an independent clause, right? So this becomes now a complex sentence. Next one, some students explored the dinosaur exhibit while others went to the space section. So this is a bit of a tricky one because this is an independent clause, and here while actually acts as a coordinating conjunction. It brings the two sentences together. Others went to the space section is another independent clause. So this actually is a compound sentence. Now next one is I enjoyed the space display because it showed how astronauts live in space. I enjoyed the space display is an independent clause because it makes sense of its own, and then because it showed how the astronauts live in the space is a dependent clause. So this becomes a complex sentence. Next one is the trip was exciting and educational. This is just one independent clause. This acts as a simple sentence. So if you still don't understand, if you want extra help and support, please message me. But otherwise, I hope this helped you to understand the difference between between simple, compound, and complex sentence. But first, as I said, you need to actually know the difference between what independent and dependent clauses mean. So watch the video and then come to this video later on.